Angel, thank you so much for joining us today. Tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So as you said, my name is Angel, and I'm an associate attorney at Chevelle and Glad, specializing in estate planning, trust administration, probates, and a little bit of conservatorships on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So right now we're approaching the end of April 2020. So my question to you is, how would you say your day-to-day life has changed, your day-to-day work in your business has changed today while we're in the shelter in place here in the San Francisco Bay Area versus a couple of months ago?
Okay, so my practice, I consider myself mainly a transactional attorney, which means that the time that I spend usually, the majority of my time is not in the courtroom, so I don't do a huge load of litigation cases. And so because my work is transactional, that means that the shelter in place affects me in that I'm not meeting my clients in person, right? And they're not obviously coming into our office. And so in that regard, it's a little bit slower. I think the biggest effect this has had on attorneys are attorneys that do litigate, because everything is basically sort of at a standstill. And just for example, San Mateo County, I have a few probate cases there. Everything as of March was pretty much canceled, except for emergency cases. You're looking at elder abuse, domestic violence, conservatorships, and essentially the clerk and the judge is saying, call us back June 1 or the first week of June. And if the world is up and running at that time, then we will give you a new calendar case. So if you're thinking, right, we have a case in March that was supposed to be set for hearing, now your hearing is going to be delayed till June, possibly, right? And then April is until July if you're lucky, and so forth. So, certainly in that regard, the shelter in place affects my clients that had cases in court. What I have been seeing, because I do estate planning, is a number of calls from our first responders. So our firefighters, our police officers, our doctors or nurses who, for obvious reasons, are concerned about having their estate in order. God forbid something should happen to them during this time. And interesting enough, you bring this up because today, about 10 minutes ago, I was working on a flyer to pass out to San Mateo Chamber of Commerce and any connections that I can make through the hospital to offer our first responders and frontline health work a discount for our estate planning services. So that's, I think the least that we can do to give back during this pretty challenging time.
Definitely. So there's a lot to unpack there, but as you know, I work a lot of my transactions are probate or trust sales. So yes, definitely. So if some hearing was set, like a probate hearing, to get letters for the executor or administrator, or a hearing related to a trust or something like that, essentially is just nothing is happening until at the very earliest beginning of June, correct?
Correct. Yeah, there may be some mechanism, and every county court varies. There may be some mechanism for you to go to the judge and say this is absolutely an emergency. I've not had to deal with that, so I don't know what the steps are. But in general, yeah, all the cases are essentially canceled, and they'll be given a new date once we're no longer in the shelter in place.
So estate planning is one of those things that's very, very important that a lot of people put off because, first of all, who wants to talk about what happens when you pass away? But second of all, it's, it's a lot to think about, and it's a lot of work to do. And when you're putting out fires day to day in your regular work life or family life, then you put it on the back burner until sometimes it's too late. So it seems like right now, maybe for people who have a little bit more time on their hands, working from home or not as active in their business, they can use this time to work on estate planning, something that's been, on the radar that they've needed to do for a while. Are you seeing people coming in and saying, hey, I've been meaning to do this for a while, and I think it's time we do it?
Yes. And you're right. It is absolutely very important. And, this is it's obviously a terrible time in our history, and a terrible time, to see what's happening to our community, and certainly the employment rates. I mean, all of it is just really, really unfortunate. But it's also a reminder that, sickness and illness, it does not discriminate, and life can be fragile. And so it's important to have everything in order, so that, if something does happen, you're leaving your family with what you want and how you want it. And, and so it's one of those things for me, as an estate planner, it's what I love about my job probably the most, because clients come to me with their hard-earned money after decades of work, and their children are grown, or maybe their children are still minors, and it really brings me joy to be able to do something to protect their assets, so that once they pass away, and we all do, they know exactly where their things are going, and it's nice seeing that peace of mind on their faces. Yeah,
it's great. So your firm is generally very forward-thinking and very proactive. So right now, as maybe some people are giving you a call and saying, hey, I'm ready to start working on my estate plan, and most of your business in the past has been, as you said, face-to-face, meeting at the office. Is it now, how does it look? Is it a lot of like Zoom meetings and FaceTime and things like that, email, DocuSign, stuff like that? Tell us a little bit about that.
So it looks like conference calls, because ever since the shelter in place was implemented, we've told clients, I'm sorry, we can no longer meet in person because of this. And luckily, for me, my work can be done remotely. I can, as long as I have a computer and connection to our server, I can work. With clients, as long as we can chat on the phone, doesn't even have to be Zoom. I don't have to see their faces. They don't have to look at me. We can get our work done. And in terms of completing the estate plan, on a case-by-case basis, we have said once this is lifted, we can figure out the slow steps into meeting with you in person. And if there are certain precautionary measures that can be taken, I will come out, or I will go out to a client's home and meet with them to sign their estate plan on a case-by-case basis, right? For instance, last week I did meet with a client whose husband is a police officer. And so him being a member of, somebody in the front lines, I felt it really my responsibility to finish his estate plan, because God forbid something happened. I really didn't want that on my conscience. And it was really important for their family for me to do that for them. And of course, when we met, we met outside, and we were sitting apart from each other. I had gloves on. Everybody wore a mask, right? And so we do our best. I certainly do my best to protect myself as well as the client. And at the same time, keep in mind that I do have a responsibility to my clients to do what I can to finish a task.
So is there anything else that you think is really important for people to know at this time as it relates to your business, or maybe just in general?
Yeah, I think, one of the things that comes to mind right now is a common misconception that I hear about estate planning from non-attorneys is, oh, I have a will. I wrote on a piece of paper where I want things to go. That's fine. I read somewhere online that a will is sufficient. I don't need a trust, which is not true. In California, a trust is the only document that avoids probate. And as you know, probate at best takes about a year in its most, friendly, non-contentious situation amongst family members. The fees are incredibly high, not only court fees, but attorney's fees as well. And incredibly high relative to the cost it takes to prepare an estate plan, right? Mm-hmm. And so, when I get these calls from clients or potential clients, I'm always a little terrified because I'm thinking, where are you hearing this? Where are you seeing this? Because that generalization is just not true, right? And so it's important for people that are thinking about an estate plan to just give an attorney a call, right? Because when we take calls from potential clients, we don't charge you just by calling us. When you call me and you tell me what your estate is composed of, I tell you, okay, you are someone that would need a trust. A will is not going to cut it for you. And here are rates. Do you want to proceed? And the second thing that comes to mind is, now because we do have high schoolers that are graduating. Unfortunately, they don't have much of a graduation, but they are in fact graduating. And so they are either already 18 or over the age of, or turning 18 soon, right? And of course, they don't have much assets to their name. But the reality is that once your child turns the age of 18, they are now considered an adult. And so guess what? They can go out there, they can open their own bank account, they can have credit cards, they can make medical decisions for themselves. And so, God forbid something happens to that child and a parent needs to step in. Well, guess what? Financial aid, the bank, the doctor no longer has to speak or communicate or disclose sensitive information to the parent because the child now is over the age of 18. So when I speak to parents that have children that age, or even, in college and they're 21, 22, I say, even if your child doesn't have any assets, make sure that he or she has a power of attorney for healthcare and property, so that if something happens to you, or them, you can step in as a parent.
That's great. That's great advice. I haven't actually heard of that, but that's a great point. That's pretty unique, and I think that's in my life, and just thinking about some of my experiences, I think that would have came in handy to a number of people that I know in the past. So, Angel, thank you so much. How do people reach you, find you? How do people get in touch with you if they saw this video and like what you had to say and want to learn more?
Give me a call. Our number here is 650-573-9500. Or if you want to email me at Angel, spelled as Angel, at Chauvel Law, CHAUVELLAW.com. And I think you're going to post something about how to reach me in terms of links. And so they can always click on that. And happy to chat, happy to talk to any potential clients that have any questions regarding their estate plan, or if they already have an estate plan and they want me to review it because it's been 10 years or 15 years since they've touched it. Happy to do that and give advice on what I think they should amend or what I think they should update. Keep in mind, for our viewers out there, that tax laws change with every president, as we've seen. Right. And so my rule of thumb is, at a minimum, every 4 years, pick up that document and take a look at it. If you forget, 8 years at a minimum, every 8 years, because tax laws do change. And if they do change, they could affect your estate plan.
That's great advice. Angel, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This was great stuff, and looking forward to the next one.
Thank you for having me, and stay safe.
Thanks.
Hey, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the little bell notification right next to it. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up on Facebook and YouTube or wherever it is you might be watching this. And if you have any questions or comments or feedback or anything like that, or you have any suggestions or ideas for other videos that I can put out there, then please don't forget to hit the comments down below, or DM me in any one of the platforms that you might be watching this. Thanks again. I look forward to seeing you on the next one.